Hey, 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 what's up? What's up, everybody? Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Yo, what's good? Garudo to core. What's up, buddy? Good to see ya. How are ya? Dude, we got a little bit of a showing tonight. I know it's a pretty late night. It's pretty late, but that's all right. We're here. Listen, sweetie, we're here. We're queer. We're ready to go. Roman America, sorry, I forgot to mention last stream that Sneego blocked me on X, badge of honor. So real, dude. So real. Is that a low taper fade? It's actually a dropped fade. I just got it today. Um, but yeah, dude, I'm feeling good about it. I love my drop fade, stuff like that. Wanted to get a new haircut. I'm still kind of working on styling. I've got the slick back look right now, but I wanted to kind of quaff it to the side a little bit and stuff like that. I'm trying to do different things with the hair. Trying to do different things, but we're living life, man. We're living large. We're living large. I'm happy, man. It's a pull over. It's real, bro. It is actually like over for the Apollonians. I don't think many realize, but it's actually over for them. They're done. I mean they've been done for a while, but they are especially done right now, man. It's looking bad. Guido Maxine with the gold chain and hair. Hey, thank you, buddy. Yeah, I got a rep for my Italian brothers, bro. Honestly, because I got that New Jersey in me. I've got family from New Jersey, and so I do get a little bit of that like East Coast, like, hey, fuck you, dude, fuck you. That kind of you talking to me type tone and stuff like that. So I'm happy with it. It's good to see you, White Groiper. I love your PFP, bro. Hello, Pine Sap. I got season 1 of Yuri Yuri on Blu-ray and watched every episode of it. I don't know what that is, to be honest. I'm super behind on anime. I'm super behind on anime, bro. You gotta plug me in with that. I hope it's nothing like weird, but you gotta tap me in on that, bro. I'd love to check it out. Got some knitwear ideas for you. Oh, sick. I'd be totally down, man. That'd be super awesome, vintage. TR, that would be awesome, man. I'd be totally down. You looking at him, asshole. Yeah, dude, literally today, it was disgusting, ugly monkey Chad Champion. And he's like, the Romans? Where are they? And it's like, hey, you looking at him, asshole. You looking at him. I can't believe, it's so funny. They did a stream, him and our good friend Virillium, right? Our good friend Virillium. And it was so good that Virillium decided to take it down right after. So that should about tell you how well the stream went, right? It was such a good show that they actually took it down right after. Such a great show, man. It was so good that now no one can see it. So it's all over after that. Failed no fap because of the stream. Please pray for me, chat. Hey, happens to the best of us. Sometimes we just get sin. It's 3 a.m. We get sin on our keyboards and we're like, frick, Twitter, please pray for me, bro. Pine Set be like, oh, and don't forget, I'm a strict Catholic. Dude, that's real. It's real. Fuck Chad. Fuck Cuck Champion. Yeah, dude. I hate that guy so much, honestly. He's fucking disgusting. Honestly, all those people are. Like Richard Spencer. Spencer comes out with this book. He drops his book with Mark Brahman, and I'll confess I've not read it. I don't really want to. I don't think that there's anything edifying about it, and I think I've got enough of a feel from it from even just what like Keith Woods and other people have told me. But they're trying to make like comic book allusions to everything throughout the book, and they're like, this character is just like the Christian God. It's just like the Christian God, and that's why it's controlling the unwitting Gentile. And it's like, are we serious, man? Are we serious? Like, it's not that there's not deeper themes in comic books and stuff like that. I mean, clearly, like Watchmen, for instance, like the graphic novel of Watchmen, there's deeper themes in that. There's plenty of graphic novels and comic series or what have you that have deeper thematic elements. But it's so bad in the snippets from the book that I read on Twitter that it's trying to read in something that's not there. It's like trying to read in meaning that's not actually there. And that's terrible. They're trying to read in meaning that's not actually there. They're trying to read in messaging and thematic elements that they just made up. And it's crazy, man. Right? It's completely crazy. Let's see. Dark Knight Returns is the best example of a comic book being based. I'll have to check it out, man. Smoking that Apollonian pack, so true. Looking good, Pines Up. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I got my New York Knicks shirt on and stuff like that. That I got from New York. That's not that I visited New York, but it was a family present, and it really mattered a lot to me. It's worth watching Mark Brahman's debate with Jay Dyer. They're literally just making shit up. Bob, I completely believe it, bro. I completely believe it. Like, I once heard from Endorphin Machine that in one of Richard Spencer's Substack episodes, he reacted to William Lane Craig talking about the existence of God, and he couldn't rebut any of it. So his only rebuttal, if you even want to call it that, was saying, well, how is this the God of Yahweh? How is this Yahweh? It's these guys are so pretentious. They're unbelievably pretentious. I mean, I don't know if you saw the merch, the like Apollonian merch that CC dropped. It was straight shit, bro. It looked so bad. I mean, for people who are on and on about aesthetics and how things look and appearances and, you know, very skin deep, pretty shit job on the merch, actually. Like, even in an ironic way. Like, even as an ironic piece of merch, it looked terrible. It was not aesthetically pleasing whatsoever. Do you think the Apollonian nonsense is going to cause a rift between Spencer and Fuentes? I mean, I don't know, dude. Spencer is clearly going down some dark path. And I think it's because he's internalized patterns of habitual sin into his life. It's not to say that when somebody is in that they can't get out of it, but the more someone starts to participate in a certain sin and defend it, the worse and worse it gets. And the worse and worse it gets, the more difficult it is for them to really escape that pattern. And I think him trying to shack up with like a single mom is prime in place of that. I mean, you can just see it on his body. Like, you know, that image that I posted today, it's probably AI. I don't think he's like that big or whatever, but he's definitely big, right? He's definitely kind of a bigger guy now. And I'm not one to insult physical appearances, to be honest. Like, look, dude, I went through it. I went through people giving me shit for being fat and stuff like that and being kind of bigger. And the one thing I will say is, like, when someone's in that position, you know, being really nasty and cruel to him and stuff like that is not going to get them out of it. Like, I remember when, you know, I posted that one image, and it was like a funnier image. Like, I know the haircut looked like Elliot Page, or well, not Elliot, that's not her name, Ellen Page or whatever from Odyssey and stuff like that. It was meant to be a little goofy or silly. But someone said something like, bullying works. Bullying does not fucking work, man. I'm sorry, that's total fucking cope. Like, being nasty and beating people down does not actually work. Maybe it works for like some jarhead type dudes, but the people that enabled me to get better were the people that loved and supported me through my darkest moments. And I think it's one of those things where I'm not just trying to do that to Rich just to do that, to like beat him down at maybe a dark moment in his life, but he has made kind of his online persona about looking down on other people and being cruel to other people and judging other people and saying, I'm so much better than you, and aesthetics and triumph of the will. And isn't it funny how even Nietzsche himself was not an archetype of this triumph? Nietzsche was a cuck. I mean, what was it? Didn't he propose to the same girl like 4 times and she rejected him every single time? He had unrequited love. If you've ever seen him without his facial hair, that dude did not have a chin at all. And here he is talking about, triumph of the will and strength, and the weak shall conquer the strong, actually, I got that in reverse. The strong shall conquer the weak, right? All these things. And he was a cuck who had like horrible digestive issues only because he ate fruit. He had unrequited love for a woman who didn't even give a shit about him his entire life. He died in abject misery. You didn't live up to your own philosophy. And our Lord says, judge not lest you be judged. For the measure you give is the one you will be measured by. And the measure that Richard Spencer gives is one of nastiness, of cruelty, of looking down on other people, of trying to beat people down at their lowest moment. So if that's the measure you're going to give, you're fat, dude. Sorry, you're fat. You're not like a little chubby, right? We can all fluctuate. Like, dude, I'm not even gonna lie. I had some Reese's Pieces yesterday. I had some frozen pizzas, some Reese's Pieces. I was, going a little hard yesterday. I was just hanging out with my boys, right? But, we all have moments where we're maybe a little unhealthy or what have you. Such is life. It is what it is. But you're fat. And you're like actually fat, dude. And you're like unhealthy. Like, I'm sorry, that's not like baby dad weight, right? I've seen like a lot of dads that have not put on that amount of weight. It's like somebody who's not taking care of themselves. Someone who's not taking care of themselves. And I wouldn't say that about someone else. I wouldn't call someone fat even if they were. If he was like a kind person, if he looked at other people and he said, you know what, I don't judge that person, I don't condemn people. And if people were going after him for being a little bit overweight, I'd be like, hey, fuck you, he's a good person, man. Don't talk shit about him. He's got a good heart, and you know what, in his own time, he will be the person that he needs to be. Don't talk shit about him. But the fact that he is that big, and he's looking down at other people and he's saying, oh, well, you're not strong enough. Sorry, you're not strong enough. Triumph of the will and all that. Look at the fruits. Our Lord says, you shall know them by their fruits. That's what he says in the Holy Gospel, right? You shall know them by their fruits. You shall know them by the fruits that they produce. Well, what are the fruits that Richard Spencer produces? I mean, look, Spence, I'll give him all credit. I've thought he's a little funny. He's even said some insightful things. Look, a broken clock is right twice a day. Not everything that he says is terrible. Right? Not everything that he says is awful. A broken clock is right twice a day. But the sort of, I don't know if you want to call it aura, I was about to like make up a word. I'm looking for a word. It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's like illustre, like the sort of draw, right? The draw that Spencer had was let's call a spade a spade. He was a lolcow. He was a lolcow, and a lot of the edits that are made of him and a lot of the things that are produced around him are ironic. What you have is kind of this doughy older white guy, this doughy older rich kid who's talking about white identity and all that kind of stuff. And he goes hard with it, but he's a chud. And in some ways, that's what we liked about him, right? It's kind of the arc of LARP it till you make it, right? LARP it till you make it. But he's a chud, and we laugh and join in on a lot of those things because it's kind of funny and it plays into our sensibilities or grand architecture, what have you. But for somebody who touts themselves as this like Nietzschean strongman, will to power type figure, he sure doesn't really live it. He sure doesn't live it, right? And I think it's very emblematic of what that worldview creates. Look, I'm not going to say that there's not unhealthy Catholics or Catholics that act like chuds or, Catholics that, make mistakes or don't live up, don't have integrity or what have you. We all fall short, right? But I think the difference between a Catholic and a Nietzschean is a Catholic doesn't oftentimes pretend to be perfect. There are some that do, and I think they get called out for that, right? There are some that definitely do. But if you really believe our faith, you know that you're not perfect. And it doesn't mean that you're self-loathing, right? I think I've been sometimes, even online, self-loathing a little bit, and that's not, that's not the proper attitude to have either. It's not like, oh, I'm so weak and I'm so bad or what have you. Well, but you're also a child of God, right? And that's your real identity. Below being like a sinner, below being all these other things that the world may call you, or the mistakes that you've made or what's happened in your life, you're a child of God. And that's your prime and place identity. But for these Nietzschean type guys, all they have is the sort of illusion of aesthetics. All they have is the sort of edifice that they create for themselves of how they look and sort of the skin deep approach or what have you. And what does it all come to? What's the fruit of that? Ignatz has like a giant nose on his face, right? He's ugly, not a good looking guy. Chad Champion is like none of the things that he claims to be, right? He took off the mask and any bit of mystery that he had was completely lost. Richard Spencer is a fat divorcee that's getting married. It's fake union, but getting married to a single mom, right? What draws anyone in about these people? Because I'm not calling someone out just for being imperfect, right? We're all imperfect. There's a million things you can pick apart about anyone. And I think the internet can be a very cruel place. But when your worldview is based on that superficiality, when your worldview is created around that edifice of superficiality, and you don't live up to it, what do you really have? What do you have to show for your worldview? It's about being strong and beyond good and evil and all this stuff, and all I'm seeing is losers. You may make fun of Christians, but it's like I think that corn-fed evangelical kid, that corn-fed evangelical who is like a good-looking dude, he's like 6 foot, has a girlfriend, all these things, right? And he's not even really trying to be those things, right? He's probably going to the gym or what have you, but he's just living his life, right? Maybe he's kind of a frat bro or what have you. He's more Nietzschean than any of you guys. He's more Nietzschean. He lives up more to the aesthetic, sort of the man being beautiful and this triumphant figure than any of you guys. Hate to break it to you. And so when you live in a skin deep way, you will be outed as a skin deep person. That's just what you are. When you live in a skin deep way and you see the world through that lens, you'll be measured by the measure that you give. And I don't think that any of them really match up to their own standard. Right? I don't think they measure up to any of their own standards. And here's the thing. Even if they did, even if these guys were hunky and they were meow groiper, $10 meow. Also, I'll read the super chats for everyone in a moment. Sorry, I've been delaying on those. Just we're monologuing right now, so we gotta riff on that. all physical beauty will fade. Doesn't mean leaning into being ugly. Doesn't mean getting fat, right? Doesn't mean, well, all beauty's going to fade, so I just might as well stop taking care of myself. No, that's dumb. Don't do that, right? But a lot of the saints talk about, I think it's Saint John Baptiste de La Salle, if I'm remembering correctly, right? He actually had this manual for young men. And in that manual, he talks about how, you should groom yourself, you should, comb your hair, make sure you're groomed or what have you. But he said, focusing on that too much to an almost neurotic extent is pride. There is good manners, right? There's presenting yourself in the best way, don't be, look, I'm guilty of this. Don't be wearing gray sweatpants and, the baggy faded Star Wars tee you got from Target 7 years ago, right? Maybe that's fine for a grocery store fit. Maybe you're going on a grocery store run, you just want a snack or something, but put effort into presenting yourself well. But don't by any means make looks your focus. Don't by any means make looks your focus, because if you do, you will never own up to that standard. You will never live up to that standard. Oh, am I from New York? No, I'm not. If that's the measure that you judge by, even if you're an attractive looking person, even if you do every look you're smashing your jaw, you're getting facial reconstruction surgery, all that kind of stuff. Maybe you're on Rita or, Ozempic or what have you. All of that will fade and you will die one day. You're not going to live forever. And what's funny is that the best kind of physical appearance you can have is just by being a good person. Like, I don't care how this sounds, but I think like Chris Farley and I think John Candy were actually pretty good looking guys. And they were fat. They were bigger dudes. They weren't skinny mini by any means, right? But they had a countenance to them that was one of love and light. And I think it beamed on their face. I think it beamed in sort of their presence. When you look at pictures of them, you look at those film photos of them, there's almost a light that seems to be emanating off of the photo, as if they're immortalized in that moment. And they're continuing to still enliven people, right? They're continuing to still delight people even to this day, right? It's because they loved. It's because they chose to live with love. We all read Roald Dahl growing up. What does Roald Dahl say? Ugly thoughts create an ugly person. Beautiful thoughts create a beautiful person. And I've seen it, dude. I've seen, look, I'll be honest, like, there have been women before that, I met, maybe it was like a coffee shop or what have you, and she was working the counter, and, maybe this girl was a little bit more heavy set or what have you, but the way she carried herself was so sweet and kind, it almost made me do like a double take. I was like, this woman is going to make like someone very happy one day, and is going to make a wonderful wife and a mother of children. I've seen, like older dudes who you can tell have been working like manual labor for all their life, right? And they've got the faded blue jeans and the work boots that have seen probably 20 plus years. And, maybe their face is scarred up from being out in the sun, right? That kind of leathery look you get from being out in the sun, working the fields or what have you. But they have a countenance to them where there's almost sort of a stoic look that they give. There's a stoic look that they give. There's kind of a handsomeness that comes from it because they're a good man. They took care of their family. They took care of their wife. They took care of their children. And you see in this man, even if he has a diminutive figure from years of manual labor, you see somebody to aspire to. That spirit, that way that he holds himself in the world. It's because he's a good man. That is completely missed by all this Apollonian stuff. Right? And I know these people don't like actually worship Apollo in the sense of like, you know, they're going out in the forest and doing I get it's more like a mythos archetypical, you know, like an archetype, right? That they're trying to live up to. It's like a myth to aspire to. Yeah, there's not really necessarily any metaphysics behind it, but it's just sort of, I mean, functionally all these dudes are just atheists, right? We can call a spade a spade. They're all atheists, and this is sort of just a archetype that gives them a sense of spirituality. I understand that. So when I've said things like Apollo's dead, I know they're not actually out in the forest worshiping Apollo, but what I mean is that this edifice that they have created is dead and will constantly die because it leads to death. It leads on to death. It's ultimately the worship of oneself. And they see themselves in these idols, and they desire so much to worship themselves that they worship these archetypes because it's what they aspire to be or think that they already are. And that can only create death and destruction. I always think it's funny how they'll cite examples of Catholics or Christians being chuds, right? That's the big thing that comes up. Oh, these Catholics are so lame. I've talked to some of these figures before, and they're like, oh, Christians are lame, Catholics are so lame. I don't want to hang around them. I don't want to be around them, etc., right? And I will be blunt. I would rather be in a parish of guys who look like they play Magic the Gathering every single day and have never even touched a barbell and don't look like they get outside at all and are maybe kind of goofy, nerdy. Maybe they're the new trad guys we've complained about, right? You know, the glasses, the beard, kind of heavy set, all that kind of stuff, right? I would rather be in the midst of men like that who, as imperfect as they are, ultimately want one thing, and that's salvation, than the hottest nightclub packed with the most beautiful people in the entire world who are all moving headlong into the everlasting flame of damnation and despair. God judges by the heart, even if someone is imperfect. And we all are. And that's why we have his mercy, right? We are all imperfect. We are always in need of repair. But he is able to give that to us. It doesn't mean that we loathe ourselves. It doesn't mean, and I admit, I've been guilty of that. You guys know this. I can be very self-loathing. I think we've seen many examples of people online being that way, right? Frick, guys, please pray for me. It's 3 a.m. and I have sin all over my computer, right? That stuff, very self-loathing and gross. Lacks prudence. I would say it's honestly, to say something like that is a sin against prudence. But as much as there are those examples of people who are imperfect or do cringy things or may not live up to the gospel fully, they are at least on a path, right? they are at least on a path where they are able to call upon the name of the Lord and have access to his grace, be a partaker in his grace to become better, to overcome the world and all sin. That's what it means to live our Christian life, right? That's what it means to live our Christian life. We're constantly getting better. We're constantly seeing how we can improve. We're constantly seeing how, and not because we look into ourselves, but Christ looks into our heart and says, what are the places that I have not touched yet? What are the rooms and chambers of your heart that I have not entered yet? You know, it's like we're walking on the water towards Christ, just as Peter was. And, you know, he picks us up out of the deep. He says, "O ye of little faith, I'm with you." He's with us the whole way. And this is why we have to be merciful to people. This is why we have to be kind to people, right? I think the culture war has definitely imbued the right with a sense of nastiness sometimes. And I'm a little over it. This idea of being like nasty and cruel. And Kai Schwimmer said, WSEP, hey, thanks, Kai. I really appreciate it, man. It's good to see you here, buddy. It's created a sense of nastiness where it's not so much looking at someone defending sin and saying, you're disgusting for doing that, right? It's justified to say something like that. But it's another thing to look at someone who's probably in the throes of spiritual delusion and despair, and they're looking at these things that the world offers them and thinking that that's the right path and saying, wow, I'm so much better than you. I'm the enlightened one. I'm the enlightened one. You're the sinner. You're the reprobate, and that's all you're ever going to be. And hey, if you commit suicide or you die, who cares? You're worthless. You're nothing. If you destroy yourself, good. Does that sound like the voice of the Lord? Does the voice of the Lord cry out and say, I want you dead. I want to destroy you. I want to annihilate you? Or does the Lord come down from heaven, look at us in our lowliness, and place his hands upon us and say, get up and walk? You have new life in me. God does not delight in the death of a sinner, but in their salvation. And it's important not to tolerate sin. That's not what I'm saying at all. Do not tolerate sin. Most especially, do not tolerate it in yourself. But when someone is at their lowest moment, and all they have ever known is the darkness that this world offers us, let's be honest, most of us are reverts and converts, man. Most of us have been away from the Lord at some point in our lives. Very few of us grew up in devout Catholic households. We always have to ask ourselves, where was I when God offered me mercy? How lost was I? What were the things that I said or that I believed or the false ideas that I perpetuated? Did God look at me in that moment and want to humiliate me? Or did he want to lift me up? God always wants to lift up the sinner. And he doesn't relish in your death or in the death of another. but he wants to overcome death with life. We have to be bearers of that life. And so I'm not saying that just be a heckin' good person, man, right? It's a reduction. Be somebody who loves. Be someone who every single day you try to take stock in people. You try to listen to them and you try to hear their story and hear where they're at and help them walk that path with God. Because there was someone in your life that helped you walk that path and that journey. I would be nowhere where I am today without the prayers of other people. And you wouldn't be either. So we must endeavor to pray and love those, even sometimes who do not love us. And even the people we're talking about, dude, look, I know we got beef with them. I know we've said some things even on the stream, but, pray. And I don't mean this in a facetious way, right? Like whenever someone hears, oh, pray for this person. Yeah, but you really actually hate me and want me to go to hell. What I'm about to say, I don't mean that in any way, shape, or form. Right? Pray for Chad Champion. Pray for Ignatz. Pray for Richard Spencer. Pray for Mark Brahman. Pray for Virillium. Pray for all these people that we may not like. Pray for them. And do it with an upright and clean heart. Not facetious, not beating your breast and saying, I'm better than this person. But pray for them in a real way, that their sight may be restored and that they may see the risen Lord, who loves them and died for them and died for you and me. That's what it's all about, man. So I'm going to read the chat a little bit, and then we got to get into some of these super chats and keep talking and stuff like that. I think the online right, unfortunately, can have a bit of bloodlust. I would agree with that. I think it's a big problem, actually, and I'm very disgusted by it. I'm a little over the whole like fetishizing civil war and like that would be. Could you imagine how horrible and heartbreaking something like that would be? That's not cool. That's not like badass. You're not going to be some boogaloo boy. It's like death and destruction, right? Every single time you see these guys and they're like, I can't wait for the Civil War. It's like, yeah, the moment your power gets shut off and you can't go to Trader Joe's anymore for those chocolate peanuts you like to scarf down, you're going to be thinking twice about, wanting civil conflict like that. It's always these fat boomers who are just bored out of their mind and have no meaning in life, right? Let's see here. Apollo isn't dead. He never even existed. So true. True, Dennis. You got it, bro. Apollo's dead. Christ is eternal. Dude, for real. Real. Let's see here. Pinesap on the grind. Thomas Pinecone Massey. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, we're on the grind, man. We're on the grind. We're there. We're keeping it up, Glad I tuned in. This is peak. I'm glad Stone Age Catholicism. I love your PFP, man. That's really awesome. I love seeing that destroyed pagan statue. That aesthetic goes so hard. That should be like on an album cover or something, like a Yay cover. That would be really, really cool. Pinesap, you got to play Death Smiles. It's Kino. You save the kingdom from Gilverado from demonic creatures, and the final boss is Tyranno Satan. That sounds actually pretty cool. I'll definitely check that out. Praying for Chrome Barracuda. Yeah, definitely. The Richard Spencer eating Apollo tweet was funny. In order to become Dionysian and to embrace his spirit, we must eat Apollo. He must be absorbed into us. The power of the sun must be absorbed into us in order that we can synthesize that energy and become something greater. That's huge, man. Who needs Apollo but Christ is our exemplar? Christ is king. So true. Liam donated $100. Dude, thank you. Moving to Ireland soon. Are there any political commentators from there that are worthwhile? Right now, I only follow Nick. Also, thoughts on the whole IRA thing. I think you also sent a prior super chat that I wasn't able to get around to. But a little bit of Keith Woods. Keith is still, he's like agnostic, or I think he's like a Platonist or something. So he's a little but he's right on some things. I think he's kind of the best Ireland's got right now. I know there's probably some other people that are good or what have you, but I think that probably Keith Woods would be the best bet, but you could just still listen to Nick too. I mean, just because you're moving to Ireland doesn't mean you need to stop listening to Nick. Nick is Mr. Worldwide, okay? Nick is Mr. International. You can listen to him wherever. It's not just America first, it's human first. It's Christ first, man. It's human beings first. Real human beings first because we put Christ first, right? So you can listen to Nick wherever. And then the whole thoughts on the IRA thing, they're able to retake their country from what's been going on, man. I completely support it. I don't want to LARP, right? Because when they said that, it's like, I mean, they did have those riots in Belfast that were very impressive, right? But they can take their country back. I fully support it, but just be smart. That's all I'll say. Just be smart. Have a good head on a swivel, good head on your shoulders, but they can do it, man. I mean, they may pave the way for other European countries in that way. They may set a really good example. So definitely supportive of that if they can take their country back. Cloud sent $10. Cozy stream. Thank you, buddy. Of course, Meow Groiper sent $10. Meow. We love Meow Groiper. TR Sarter sent $10. The fundamental problem with these neo-pagans is the lack of benevolence. You should desire to serve your fellow man. That's very true, man. Like when we say love your neighbor, it's not that, again, we're perfect at that. We can always improve. But it's that without that love, life becomes very, very cruel. Right? Life becomes very cruel, and it becomes kind of a way of trying to get one up over the other person all the time. And that's a harsh way to live. When Christ says those who live by the sword die by the sword, he's not just talking about people who actually live for war, but he's talking about people who also use the sword of their tongue to cut down other people. And if you live by that measure, right, if you live in that way, you will be cut down by that same sword. The people you once called friend and ally will cut you down as well, right? Because it's living with violence. It's living with constant hatred. And that's no way to actually enjoy life in a meaningful way. So very good words from TR, man. I saw we got 2 new super chats. I'll read those in a moment. 3, dang, dude, thank you. Cape and Real Sneeko. Pine sap, more like mog sap. He sent $5. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Oh, and then Liam asked that I'm moving to Ireland soon. Sent $5 earlier. Thank you, Liam. Roman America sent $5. A while back, you did a stream where you mentioned the Apollonians. What was the other group you mentioned? Was it Dionysians, or am I thinking of someone else? They go between like Apollo and Dionysius, because I think Dionysius is like the wine god. He's like kind of the god of pleasure, and they're all about partaking in like hedonism and stuff like that. Moral Epicureanism. That's a big thing that they're into. So it's just all a LARP, man. It's just very gross and degenerate. Ave Petrum sent $5. Love you, man. I hope all is well. I'm wishing you nothing but the best. God bless you and your family always. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate that. Colton Patrick sent $3. How would you approach Nick Fuentes-esque movement in Hollywood? It's what I want to do. Catholics controlled it once through the Hays Code. We can do it again. We advise infiltration of institutions or just attack on legislation. I think infiltration is kind of your best bet. And I think moving in a way where you can plant yourself in a position of power is probably the best bet. Definitely hide your power level. That's what Nick has always recommended. I definitely agree with it. There's all different angles, right? If you could pursue legislation and that's the path that you're called to, I think that's very, very good. But if you can just be someone who infiltrates and kind of moves in a way like a thief in the night, I think that's a very, very good way to proceed. And I think you'll lead to being able to kind of influence Hollywood and the media and art apparatus a lot more than if you were just very, brazen and open from the gate. We have plenty of guys doing that already, so definitely move in the night. And if you do that, I think you can make some really, really good headway. Liam sent another 10. Thank you, buddy. I was in Belfast for the riots on a mission trip. Hundreds of people marched down the street in front of our church. Was a prot riot, though, so we closed the gates. Was weird. Yeah, that is kind of weird. I mean, look, maybe that's the real ecumenism, That's the real ecumenism. We gotta be against migration together. We gotta, in some ways, actually, though, not in like a false ecumenical way, not like kumbaya, we're all Christians, but like if you can work with like Protestants or Eastern Orthodox to push back against migrants, that's actually pretty awesome. So, maybe moving against migrants was the real ecumenism the entire time. Maybe the real friends we made along the way was when we were opposing migration. I think that's a good move. You the man, said Valor. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate that. Currently in a congressman's office. That's awesome, Thomas Pinecone Massey. We love that, dude. Schizotoma sent $5. Good to see you, looking good. Doesn't St. Thomas say something on the lines of people who look ugly when they oh, hold on. I need to sound out the words, right? Phonics. Good to see you, looking good. Doesn't St. Thomas say something along the lines of people look ugly when they live in a state of sin? If so, Big Spence is living up to that. Well, yeah, because it definitely does affect the way that you look, right? I mean, if you're living in a very degenerate way, even if you're like naturally kind of a beautiful person, the sin just starts to reflect on your body and stuff like that. Like anyone who's like a womanizer or an adulterer starts to look like very like run through and like, as the saying goes, ridden hard and put away wet. People who are gluttonous look fat. People who steal have that kind of like almost like goblin type look to them. They literally look like the goblins from Clash of Clans, right? Clash Royale. They start to look like the goblins where they're just like, it's like the beady eyes and they're always like trying to get one over another person. And so habitual sin definitely does affect how you look, right? Shalom, Sappy. I've returned. Good to see you, Eric. We love Eric, actually. Eric's awesome. Oh, and I just hit my keyboard. Just hit my keyboard. Let's see here. St. Thomas believes in physiognomy. Oh, he does. He does. Mass migration is an existential issue everyone can and should be opposed to. Definitely. If the people aren't here anymore, we don't have a country. A country can technically fall, but if you still have the same race and you still have the same group of people that have always belonged there, you can build it up from the ground up. But if you no longer have those people, doesn't matter how the GDP is doing, doesn't matter how economically stable you are, that country will never come back. Human beings are irreplaceable. And if we believe in human dignity and we confess to being pro-life, part of that has to involve racial consciousness. And that's something that a lot of people don't want to touch. But if you're not willing to preserve all the beautiful races of this earth, you can't truly call yourself pro-life and you can't call yourself Catholic, right? It is actually a Catholic moral imperative. St. John Paul II St. John Paul II in so many words said the 14 words, right? I believe at the UN. And actually, when he was giving a speech to the Aboriginal population of Australia, he said it would be a tragedy if your race departed from the earth, right? So there is this element of racial preservation that belongs to the heart of our faith. If we don't uphold that, we can't call ourselves Catholic at all. It's a moral imperative and a moral duty. Oh, let's see here. Liam sent $5. Unfortunately, I'm employed on the East Coast, so I have to go to bed. Have a good night. Pray for me. I definitely will, Liam. Thank you so much for tuning in, bro. Ave Petrum said, watch PineSap, watch Nick. Don't say you are a G. Forget about it. Seek to advance the Vatican. Seek to advance America first. Aspire to be a millionaire. Aspire to make the Trinity proud. The rest will fall into place. That's actually a very good way of putting it, Ave. I would completely agree. Just be a good Catholic, right? Just be a good Catholic. Get a good job, right? Get a good job. Try to move your way up in the world or whatever. And I remember when I made like the Wingstop joke the other night, like people were like, I'm making 17 an hour. I was not dogging on working a minimum wage job or anything like that. There's no shade thrown that way. That's if you're trying to move your way up in the world, that's very honorable. Sometimes we all need a season of manual labor, right? I mean, you need calluses on your hands, right? I think you can see some of mine here. That's just from lifting, but you need some calluses on your hands. You do need to do some manual labor and lift with your hands and work in that way. I think it teaches you humility, and I think it teaches you how everything can be taken from you, right? But if you always have your heart focused on God, whether you're working a blue collar job, minimum wage job, white collar, doesn't matter. You will always have that picture focus that you need to succeed in any place you are in life. And so I think Ave Petrum put that in a very beautiful way, actually. Triplet tongue Sahur PineSap, do you write this down? I do not, man. I just I just try to say whatever God puts on my heart. You know what I mean? I try my best to say that. I'm not saying everything that I say is from God or anything like that. I would never want to claim that in a million years, but I just try to speak from the heart. I miss Hammy. I miss Hammy too, man. I really love Hammy. I hope he's doing I hope he's doing well. I miss him a lot. It's when you're 45 and still working the same gas station job, some questions need to start being asked. Yeah, if you're still working at the Safeway gas station at 45, you're still working at the Kirkland Costco gas station when you're 45, then some real questions need to start coming up. Sanctified said, any advice for an upcoming college freshman? I leave tomorrow. I would say there's a double effect of it. First is going to be the positive, and the next is going to be the warning. You're going to have a lot of fun. College, in my experience, was very fun. I loved my freshman year at DU, dude. It was so much fun. We would get together with parties all the time. We would, have these wonderful outings and stuff like that. There was a lot of stuff to do on campus. Get very involved in clubs. Clubs will be your conduit to making new friends. And so get involved in the Catholic club on your campus. That's paramount. That's primary. And then if there's at DU, they had a Dungeons and Dragons club I joined freshman year. I kind of left when I realized it was full of gay people and trannies, but that's, that was a little later down the line when I was put on a new campaign I didn't sign up for. But the initial guys I hung out with were really cool, actually. We played a Star Wars D&D campaign. It was really awesome. Get involved there. Honestly, probably Turning Point USA, they're basically Groyper clubs, right? They're Groyper hotbeds. So get involved there as well. Or maybe, college Republicans, young Republicans, see about getting involved there. Also get involved in just fun clubs. Like I said, I was a part of the D&D club, maybe philosophy club, get involved in chess. I know that there's Super Smash Brothers clubs that exist, and they do tournaments and stuff like that. Hiking, skiing, mountain biking, running, rowing, whatever it is. Definitely probably see about a physically active club, so you're keeping your mind and your body sharp. Clubs are a great way to meet. Clubs are a great way to meet and make friends. And so definitely get involved in clubs. And just try to introduce yourself to as many people as possible. In O week, your first week of school, try to really make a lot of friends. Put yourself out there and try to see about introducing yourself to as many people as possible. I think that's really, really a beautiful way to make new friends. So that's huge, right? What about a frat, Pine Sap? Depending on the frat. If it's a good frat, definitely consider joining. But in my opinion, FSL is pretty cooked and you're basically paying for friends. And that's why I left it. I was cool with all the guys in my fraternity and stuff like that when I was in it my first year, and I left sophomore year, but the guys would talk shit about each other all the time and were very kind of catty. And I think that was one thing that kind of drove me away from it. Was it just started to be very womanly. They just started to talk very nasty about each other, and I wasn't really a fan of it. So you can find a good fraternity, definitely consider joining. But if it's not going to lead you the right way, don't consider joining. Now for the warning. And this is going to be very serious, so tune in your ears, right? Also, let me just read those super chats that came in before we get started on this. Pay Kidden 42 sent $15. State Young Republicans shut down due to racism. Is this the chance to do the funniest thing ever? Yeah, I think some trolling might be in order. Optical trolling, don't get yourself canceled or anything like that. But some optical trolling might not be a bad idea. Prairie Pothole Groyper sent $5 to sanctify Groyper, both physically and intellectually. Lock in, don't waste time, and don't associate with losers and quitters. I say this as a 25-year-old unk who got going in life a little later than you would have liked. Very true. Very true. Coming from also a 25-year-old unk, you should be lifting every single day. The way I do it right now is push, pull, legs, and then your fourth day can basically kind of be a rest day because you don't want to tire out your arms, right? You can lift arms a little too much, and you start actually like breaking down muscle rather than building it up. But your fourth day should either be like a cardio day. I recommend making it a cardio day or just like a wild card. So if you're so busy that day that you can't lift or whatever, just call that your rest day and use it to go do whatever. But yeah, push, pull, legs, and then fourth day should be cardio or you're like get out of jail free card. But make sure you're exercising every single day. Let's see. Speaking of college, a member of my Lectio Divina group is returning to Notre Dame this weekend. Pray for him. I definitely will, Rome. I definitely will. That's important. So brain pause. No, sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to formulate this. Kind of look like Jake Shields right now. That's kind of scaring me. I kind of look like Jake Shields. I got my ears out here, right? Cheese to meet you. I'm trying to think of how to put this. Now comes the warning. Freshman year has a lot of temptation. A shit ton of temptation. Like it's not an easy route freshman year. There will be a lot of things thrown your way. Rat ears, dude, that's brutal. That's mean. Not Neanderthal enough. Okay, I appreciate that, Franz. I appreciate that. Groiper. There will be a lot of drugs. I never did any drugs or anything like that, thank goodness, right? Probably weed. There's definitely going to be weed there. Definitely weed. Some people like to do painkillers. Depending on the how do I put this? Depending on what income bracket the school you're going to comes from, there might be coke there. DU was kind of weird. It was like middle class, upper middle class, and like upper class. So there was like a lot of coke on campus. Like I remember we had this one dorm called Halls, had shared bathrooms. There was literally white on like the little soap stand because guys would just set up lines and just snort them and then do their homework in one night. It was kind of insane. I did not live in Halls. I lived in JMac, which we'll get into what was going on there. But yeah, it will have a lot of drugs, right? And you got to stay away from that stuff. That stuff, if you're not a druggie, it's pretty easy to stay away from, but you just got to make sure you don't hang out with the gentleman who said it earlier. I think it was Prairie Dog Groiper or Prairie Pothole Groiper. Don't hang out with fucking losers because they will try to influence you to have drugs. But drugs, in my opinion, were pretty easy to avoid. I didn't find myself really ever pressured to do them. It was kind of like you could have fallen into that if you were seeking it, but if you weren't seeking it, like nobody was giving you crap for not doing drugs, right? Alcohol, though, that's a whole nother beast. And I'm going to have a little bit of a rant even about some Catholic circles here, but even in some Catholic circles, there is kind of a problematic drinking culture. And when I say that, I don't mean that drinking in of itself is a sin. By no means is it a sin, but there are a lot of people that take like personal offense or umbrage if you do not drink or you don't drink in excess. They're like, what? He doesn't want to hang out with us? He doesn't want to get killed by the hero? We all want to be level 1 slimes, dude, and he doesn't want to get killed by the hero today? Dude, come on, man. Right? Instead of having drugs, you could have some Slim Chickens Biggie Meal with some honey mussy. So true, dude. You could go to Slim Chickens, get the hungry meal and an Oreo shake. That's better than any drugs, bro. So true, EHC. So true. And let me read that other super chat just while I'm at it. Colton sent $3. Do you think Nick is a Catholic integralist? The other night he said that the Enlightenment is us. Wish he would read more of Damask or counter-revolutionary author. Seems like he values the grandiose secular achievements over Christ's social kingship. I wouldn't agree with that at all. I think, I think to be Catholic, you have to be an integralist. So I would say that Nick, by virtue of being Catholic and wanting everyone to be Catholic, already is. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't nitpick him. He clearly wants everyone to believe in Christ. He naturally, by being, a devout Catholic, supports the social kingship of Christ. So, of course, right? He's on side. Goes without saying. Locking back into the focus, though. Alcohol is going to be a big problem. That is going to be something that people actually do try to influence you to do. And people get very offended when you don't. They will get very pissed off. They'll try to give you shit for it. They'll try to be like, what, man? You don't drink? Oh, that's so lame, right? Let's go to the bar. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. Don't get involved in that, right? If you want to have like a drink, that's fine. I'm not going to give anyone crap for drinking. I've had drinks before, right? I've never been drunk, right? Never in my life. The closest I ever was actually after an Easter vigil. And the moment I started even feeling a little bit of a buzz, it freaked me out so much. I was like, I'm not doing this. So, coming from someone who doesn't really drink, I just think you should avoid it, right? You should definitely avoid it. Final one, we all know what it is women. And it depends. This part kind of depends on what school you go to. When I went to DU my freshman year, it was very, very, I don't know how to say this, incestual. And when I say the word incestual, what I mean is like we were living on top of each other in the dorm, in the sense that the way at least that Johnson McFarland Lane, my dorm, worked was it was like a 60s dorm. So I mean, basically it was kind of like you had, I might actually be able to share my screen. Hold up. I actually probably will be able to share my screen. Pull up Brave here. Booyah. Oh my goodness, bro. Google's doing that like unidentified traffic or whatever. It's like give me a rest, bro. Give me a rest. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Okay. I think you guys can probably see this. Soy face. No. So this was JMac, right? So as you can see, it was kind of this 60s, 70s dorm, older. It was actually a really nice dorm. I really, really, really liked it. Very nice dorm. But if you look on the inside, cool design and stuff like that. If you look on the inside of it, this will load. So that was like the hall that you would come into and stuff like that. But these were the inside. So as you can see, there you had your like window. You can't see into this picture, but like in front of the beds was your like closet, and it was like a built-in like walk-in kind of closet. It didn't have doors, so you'd have to buy like a curtain to like shimmy it back and forth to, hide stuff, but most people just kind of had open closets. And you had your beds. So I use the term incestual in relation to the men and women living there. It was like rabbits, bro. I mean, people were like dicking down like every single day. It was bad. It was very, very, very bad. Like the girls would almost throw themselves at you, and they were, I mean, I'm going to be very real, like looking back on it, they were extremely sexually aggressive. Like extremely. Like I was kind of shocked, honestly, when I went to college. I mean, I straight up like I would be like interacting with girls sometimes and they would just be like trying to throw themselves at you. Like just trying to like any way they could try to like get you or like get their claws in you, they were trying their best. And I was enough of a chud that I was able to kind of like chud powers are real, man. I was able enough to like put up a wall that nothing, nothing happened my freshman year or whatever, but it was definitely like the temptation was there, right? I mean, you had these like girls that some of them were straight up like not alma mater, like what's it called when someone's like top of their class? Valedictorian. Sorry, I thought of a bad joke there, but I'm not going to say it. Valedictorian, right? They were. You had like there was this one valedictorian girl that straight up like the first week she was there was dressing kind of more like nerdy, and then like after a while it was like tube top, entire midriff, cleavage, like booty formed pants and stuff. Like it was, she was definitely trying to get some attention and stuff like that. And dude, she like basically assaulted me. Like I was trying to go to the shower once and like I like open up my door and I'm shirtless sap, right? I'm trying to go to the community showers and she's like right there and I don't know why, but I like scooped her chin. I was like, oh hi, and I just did like this, and that was about it. And then she was like trying to like flirt or whatever, but it's like, no, I'm sorry, babe, gotta go to the shower. I gotta go to the shower and wash off. Gotta hit the shower. It's been a long day, right? And then I like walked right past her. So I like scooped her chin, like said something, and then just like walked right past her. And that was it, right? And then another time, like I had my headboard on the bed, like right near the closet, and she was like in my dorm for some reason. Because we would like leave our doors open for people to just like hang out and stuff like that, for people to just like, go to each other's dorms. And like she comes in and she was like touching my shit and stuff like that. I was like, yo, don't touch my shit. So I like grabbed her hands and she like tried to take my hands and put them on her breasts, bro. It was like actually nasty. It was disgusting. Like I'm like, dog, I do not want, like, this girl was like trying to molest me. It's so hard being a sensitive young man. This girl was like she was like throwing herself at me. And I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to like live. I feel like I'm like humble bragging or whatever, but no, it's like, I'm not like, I'm not like the best looking guy in the world or whatever. Like I'm just a dude. I'm just hanging out. Right. But it's like, I don't like you could have been like you could have been ugly as sin. And it's like these girls literally were just trying to like steal your grain. Right. There's this old quote. It's from, hold on. We're looking this up. From Hesiod. It's from Hesiod. This is literally what it was like going to DU, bro. Do not let a woman who decorates her buttocks deceive you by wily coaxing, for she is after your granary. These women were after my granary, bro. Dude, these women were literally after my granary. It was insane. It was insane, bro. Like if you were a dude at DU 2019 freshman year, girls were out here looking for your granary, right? University of Denver, girls were trying to steal your granary, bro. Like that's insane. And you didn't have to be like, again, I'm not like humble bragging. I'm not like, yeah, I was just such a Rizzler that all these girls like me. They just were throwing themselves around at everybody, right? They were just throwing themselves at everybody and seeing what could stick. Like I remember there was this like one Jewish girl that like, there was this really nice kid named Kyle that was right next to me, and he had like skipped a year of school to like go find himself or whatever. He was from this city called Boulder in Colorado, which if you guys know Boulder, it's kind of like our San Francisco. It's like very hippy dippy, very hippie culture and stuff like that. And Kyle was like a very nice guy. Like if I saw him today, I'd still go get coffee with him. He's a great guy. But like she clearly they did stuff or whatever. And then she was like trying to go after me. She was trying to go after me, and then she got like pissed that I like didn't have this like requited love towards her or whatever, or interest. And then like when I was trying to be like nice to her in the dining hall, she didn't have like 5 words for me. I would just be, I can't even remember what her name was, but I was just like, oh hey, whatever it is. And guys, you know me, I say hi to everybody, right? I say hi to everybody. It was actually my thing freshman year. I tried to challenge myself to say hi to like literally everybody, because I was like, hey, you don't know what kind of day someone's going through, and like it's a great way to, kind of test your social skills or what have you. So I would try my best to say hi to every single person. And I tried to say hi to her, and she like didn't want anything to do with me. There was like another girl who are you guys okay with the girl stories, by the way? I can stop. I just think they're kind of funny. If you guys want me to stop and you're like, that's enough, Sap, just let me know. But I think they're kind of funny. I think they're kind of silly. Just let me know in chat. It was crazy. And that was not the only Jewish girl, too, that was like into me, which is kind of insane, right? Like there were multiple times at DU where there were just Jewish women that were like, for some reason, really into the sap, and I have no idea what I did to create that. I'm just saying, a little weird TVH fine sap. Sorry, buddy. I'm just trying to be real, right? Maybe I'm being a bit of a freak, but I'm just trying to be real, okay? More stories, okay. There was this other girl. This story actually does make me sad, and I hope she's not doing this anymore, but she like went down like the weird trans path and stuff like that. And the way I figured out is when I was on TikTok, if you had your contacts connected, you could like see who was following you, right? Or, who you could follow. And I remember one of them, I like looked at the person, I'm like, who is this? And of course it was some name like Finn or whatever, right? She was going by like the name Finn, and I was like, Finn? I'm like, who the fuck is Finn? I don't know who Finn is. And then I realized, I was like, oh shit, that's Sam, bro. That's Sam. This is this girl Sam that was like into me and stuff like that for a bit. And I felt really bad. She had like shaved her head, like it was really messed up, man. Like she had like these gross, like nerdy Harry Potter glasses, like, and she was actually like a very, like, I would have never dated her just because of her values, but like she was actually like a very pretty girl. And to see her like do that to herself, like really kind of broke my heart. I was like, damn, like I definitely am going to like endeavor to pray for her that her like heart is lifted up from that. Like that really sucks. But dude, I remember I let her down so much because in like my friend group or whatever, they were one time like probing for questions, and they were like, oh, well, what kind of girls are you into, Pine Sap? What kind of women? And at the time I was not Catholic, but I did not turn a girl trans, okay? You guys that is such cap. I did not turn her trans, all right? That did not happen. she dated other guys after me and was not doing that stuff. So that's a bald-faced lie, right? That's a bald-faced lie. Dang, bro. That's crazy. I could have saved her. Maybe you're right, bro. But okay, the sad thing is though, she was like doing like painkillers and stuff like that. Like hardcore. Like she came into like I had this friend group that was like co-ed. It was both guys and girls. And she like came in the girls' room one night and was like on painkillers. And she's like, I'm really sorry, guys. Like, I just don't know like what I'm doing with my life and stuff like that. Like it was very sad. She was like very lost and stuff like that. And I remember like going back to the story, they were trying to like probe me for questions of like, well, what kind of girls do you like or whatever. And even though I wasn't Catholic, I was, very Anglican at this point. And I was like, she has to be Christian. I'm like, if she's not Christian, we can't make it work. And I'm like, she has to believe everything the Bible teaches and, want to follow God and stuff like that. And they were like, well, what if she doesn't want to do that? And I was like, I just can't go for it. I'm like, even if she's like a nice girl or whatever, it's just not it, right? It's just not kind of the path I want to pursue. They're like, oh, well, shit, well, Sam likes you and stuff like that. And, sure enough, I was like, oh, I didn't know. And I actually didn't because I don't know when women like me. And so I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, well, she's very pretty and stuff like that. But I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I know she's an atheist and stuff like that. It's just never going to work out. Right. And sure enough, kind of a similar thing. Like, I tried to say hi to her and just be nice. And she was like, not having it. Like, these women, like, for guys, like, at least in my experience, like, a guy can break up with a girl and still be like cool. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be like all that, in my opinion. Like, if it was like a mutual breakup and everything was chill, like, just be a nice person, right? Just be. Just, Sap thinks trans girl. What are you talking about, Groiper? What are you talking about? I never said. Listen, you're putting words in my mouth. Okay, putting words in my mouth, pal. But man, yeah, I don't even know, bro. That was a wild trip. All those stories aside, right? I don't know. It kind of depends on the college environment. Sometimes if you go to like a better school or you probably go to a Catholic school, that's maybe not the case. And that's really good. But regardless, you gotta avoid the women because the women will actually try to like dig their claws into you. And I don't know what it is. It's just like they're JK Sap loving the stories, protect Yo Grain. No, dude, that was so funny. I appreciate you, bro. Unironically, you got to protect your grain. You got to protect your grain. And actual jokes aside, read Sirach, right? Read Sirach, read Proverbs. Don't be around with these women, man. Like if you get like a girlfriend your freshman year and she's a really nice girl and it turns into something and you guys can get married, that's a very beautiful thing, right? Pursue that. The only girl in my life that I've never really been in love, but like the closest I've ever felt was there was this girl ironically my freshman year that I was very like sweet on and stuff like that. And she wasn't mine, right? She was like dating another guy or whatever, but like we were cool and stuff like that. And it was just really chill to talk to her and stuff like that. But I think all that is to say is that if you find a great relationship, that's one thing, but keep your mind focused on Christ. And the rest will come into fruition, right? The rest will come into play. But don't be doing any of these things like trying to pursue these girls because I don't care what kind of guy you are. It is tempting, right? It is very tempting when you have, and these girls, I mean, these girls I'm talking about, they weren't ugly, right? They were very pretty. And even me being the very homegrown Colorado boy growing up in the sticks, like there were times where I was like, oh, I could just have anyone I want, right? Like that thought did cross my mind, but I had to reel back and realize like that's not where God wants me, man. Right? And none of us are as men, any one of us can fall into that. And so you got to be very, very careful. I would say of anything that I've warned about, the women are the biggest warning. Because it is a very, it's very easy to avoid drugs, relatively easy to avoid alcohol, honestly. But women, that's where a lot of guys get nicked. And if you're not receiving the sacraments, if you're not focused on God, you will get caught up in that stuff. So focus on God, work out. Unironically, be an incel. Don't focus on that stuff. Be an incel. Focus on the right thing. Focus on your education too. That's why you're there, right? But above your education and at the root and base of your foundation of everything you are, focus on Jesus Christ and use this moment in your life to grow into a man. That's what college ideally should be. Like college nowadays is basically like a giant daycare center for like horny teens, but you should be using college to grow up into a man. That's the way most people should be using college. And a lot of people don't, but you're not a lot of people. You're Catholic. You were set on a different path. You were called to a different path. And you have to have your mind focused on the right thing. And that isn't that you're looking down on anybody else or that you think you're better than them. You could be in the exact same position that they are. But you do have to be focused on the right thing, right? And the right thing is focusing on Jesus Christ. Gabriel said, "Hey, PineSap, haven't caught you live in a super long time. Cheers from Japan." Well, hey, thanks, Gabriel. Really appreciate it, man. Florida Kilos said, "Good message for me. I'm starting college in a few weeks." Yeah, dude, definitely. I don't know if you've caught the full stream, Florida, but definitely rewatch the good and the bad. It's not all just bad or warnings. Freshman year, going back to the positive stuff, it is super fun. You make some of the best friends that will last the rest of your life. Focus on the positive. That's what's important. And unironically, like, I think Nick said this, but also Jordan Peterson, for all his faults, did say this, and I do agree with this. Read a lot. Like, this is a great time to get some serious reading done. Read works of theology, read philosophy, read like good nonfiction or read good fiction books. Like, honestly, I'm trying to read Graham Greene's Power and the Glory right now. I've heard that's a beautiful book. And I really kind of resonate with like the whiskey priest archetype. That's kind of like how I am. I'm like, I know I'm fucked up and stuff like that, but like I do want to love God and, put him at the center of my life. And so I think it's like a character I really resonate with. But that's a book I've been reading. And then I think I want to read Blood Meridian after that. Because I've only watched the Wendigoon video on it. And it seems like a really good story. But yeah, dude, that's kind of low down of college. Read, better your mind, better your body, better your soul first and foremost. And Betty, I think I said all of it actually. Better your mind, body, and soul, right? All of it. Make great friends and make experiences that are going to last you the rest of your life, man. Dude, I still look back at freshman year. I'm like, that was such an awesome time, right? And I'm really happy about it. I think it was a really, really good time. Revolt Against the Modern World by Julius Evola. Yes, read the Chud books. No, I'm just playing. Well, I mean, I don't know. I tried to read a bit of Revolt, but it just was so all over the place and stuff like that. The Passing the Great Race by Madison Grant. I actually have heard that's a good book. I'd love to pick that up soon. Let's see. You graduate with a Catholic Studies degree, then go on to formation or upper seminary. So true, dude. Revolt Against Civilization by Lothrop Stoddard. Real. Your boy. We are not reading Grandpa's book, bro. I don't even know if I can say that on stream, bro. He lives in Colorado, by the way. James Grandpa, not going to say his full name, lives in Colorado. He lives in like the projects in Denver. James Grandpa is not somebody that you should be reading. Let's see. Blood Meridian is good. Yeah, it's super good. Father Dennis Fahey's books. Yeah, actually, that is a good Chud book to read. And you should read the right Chud books. Like, unironically, read like Joseph Damas. Joseph Damas is phenomenal. He is great. He's like, he kind of gets you in that like Count Frollo mindset a little bit, that like Inquisitor mindset a little bit. So Dave Gold said Mason. Yeah, Grandpa. That's what we call him, Grandpa. Don't read Grandpa. Don't don't read Grandpa. That's not gonna enliven you spiritually, David Irving, yeah, definitely read David Irving. He's awesome. Oh gosh. I feel like we kind of Is there anything more to say about Apollonianism, bro? I feel like we kind of raked it over the coals, to be honest. I feel like we kind of destroyed it. I'm trying to think what are some other topics homies are having questions about. Could be life stuff, could be stories. I'm down with anything. Taff sent $23. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Big G sent $5. Dude, the Foyam recently have really shown us how serious the Goyim question really is. Yeah, that's real, actually. Prairie Pothole, Groiper sent $5. These evil succubus foids can't leave a pure, innocent sappy alone. Story of my life, man. That's real. Every single time I try to lock in, it's like sometimes, I have those bad moments and I'm like, okay, we're going to download the dating apps or whatever. And they're like, no, that's wrong. And then I delete and I lock back in. And then it's like, they just try to pull, it's like the Siren song. They try to pull me back in. And it's like, Mr. Pine Sap, please lock in. Do not become Misty Orthodox. Do not go down an unlocked in path. Please lock in, sir. Thoughts on, sorry, Thomas, I'm not trying to laugh at you. I just like how you said Rippenberger, Father Rippenberger. No, but Father Chad Ripperger, he's phenomenal. I don't really trust anyone that hates on him. I think that oftentimes, like, people who hate on Father Chad Ripperger, it comes from a place of them despising him because he's very orthodox and he's a very pious priest. And I think he is a phenomenal example of holiness in the modern world. I think he gives really good spiritual advice. He's got a really good balance and stuff like that. And so he's phenomenal, man. I really think he's a great guy. And I think he's worth reading a lot and listening to his videos and stuff like that. I posted his video recently about like Jansenism and stuff like that. And Puritanism and struggling against that in the spiritual life. And I thought I need to re-listen to that video. It's a very good one. Will I end when Nick starts? Yeah, probably. I'll end when Nick starts because I don't want to be disloyal and take the glory away from him. Played any games recently? Dude, I have my Steam and I bought some games on there, but I haven't played in a hot moment. I know I bought that like coin raccoon game where it's like the coin machine and you try to like rack up coins and stuff like that. It's a roguelite. I really love that game. It's called like Coin Raccoon or something. Sean Ryan is growing on me. Yeah, dude. Let's see here. Read my manifesto when it comes out in the news. Whoa, that's crazy. Wait, who's Thomas Wagner? Thomas Wagner. Who is Thomas Wagner, bro? Anonymous donated $5. Have you ever considered perpetual celibacy? What Saint Paul talks about? I definitely have, and I'm definitely open to it. I'll be honest, I do feel like I'm kind of called to marriage right now. I don't think I've really gotten a good enough experience to really know whether I'm called to a life of perpetual celibacy like that. But honestly, it's like if I probably date more or whatever, and I kind of realize I'm like, just marriage isn't for me, and I don't feel like that's the vocation I'm called to, I definitely won't consider that, actually. Cozy Clown donated $5. Is we getting a fourth nostalgia critic neurodivergence film? Love you, Goatsap. Thanks, Cozy Clown. I don't know if we are, dude, but I love Nostalgia Critic. He is so funny, dude. He is so funny. I love Nostalgia Critic. He just makes me laugh all the time. Sam Cordova said it's a joke. No, I know it is. I know it is, man. You're just, hey, my boy's playing around, right? We don't do that stuff. We don't drop manifestos, okay? We're good boys. Every good boy deserves fudge, okay? And we're good boys. Let's see here. Don't worry, Pine Sap, your wife isn't even born yet. Bro, I'm not going to have a 25-year age gap with my wife. That is insane. Perhaps green screen is fired. Dirty laundry, Sap? What's dirty laundry? To Pine Sap? What's going on? Oh, let's see here. Master Chief Collection. Gripe Gang Flex said, "Why, in your opinion, do you think people say Nick is evil?" I think we live in a very pussified age, and I've talked about this before. But you know, when a man talks like a man, you get all these trad guys, right? You get all these trad guys, and they're always talking about like, you know, this. Oh, that's why you're talking about the green screen, because it like, oh yeah, I see what you're saying now. I wasn't even seeing that. Yeah, I have to adjust the frame a little bit. But the thing about it is that you get all these like trad guys, right? Who are always on and on about men talking like men, and, you know, men being the sort of ones to speak out loud and speak up and all that kind of stuff. And then Nick does, and they all freak out and they're like, well, you're mean. Well, you're rude. Well, you're this. Well, you're that. And I think they're just all pussies. I think they're all pussies. I think they're completely pussy whipped. I don't think that any of them are like actual men. I think masculinity for them is playing dress up and drinking brandy and growing a beard and smoking cigars, and that's about it. And I think the men that call Nick evil are not men at all, but they're cowards. He's doing something that they will never do in a million years. In a million years, they will never do the same thing, right? They will never live the same way. And so people want to tear down someone who does what they could never do because they're jealous. And so I think that's why people call Nick evil. Nick is not evil. Nick is a good dude. I mean, Nick has reached out to me before and said literally, honestly, some of the sweetest like, or well, yeah, I mean, honestly, like sweetest like kind stuff that I've heard in like a long time, and it, you know, I'm not gonna say what he said, but like he actually like inspired me a lot. Like his words really inspired me, and so like now like even when I have those occasional moments where I'm like, oh, dude, like, you know, I'm just having a tough day, or like I don't know if I feel motivated to like work out today, or like I don't know if, you know, I want to get the work done today, right? I actually remember what he said to me, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do more for him, right? I'm gonna do more for him and for this movement, and to uplift the people around me, because I have other people relying on me. I'm not just living for me. Worst times in my life have been when I've lived for myself, and I think what he said to me was that I need to live for other people more, right? Other people are relying on me, and other people are counting on me, and that's exactly what I want to set out to do, bit by bit each day. So honestly, fuck the haters, man. I will I literally to the ends of the earth I will follow Nick, right? I there's nothing I could there short of doing something that was against God, which he would never ask me to do. There's nothing I wouldn't do for him, even to the point of death. Like I would die for him. And I know that's, you know, a lot of people are gonna say like LARP or whatever, but it's like I think through the things that I've been through, I've more than proven my loyalty, and I've more than proven what I can handle. And you know, that's where my heart's at, right? There isn't anything I wouldn't do for him. So what, the haters? It's that clip from Family Guy. Oh, here we go again. He starts. Actually, we gotta watch. We gotta watch that clip. Hold up. Here we go again. Here.
Would you like to add chips and a...
This is me when we say, hey, you know what? Fuck the haters.
Would you like to add chips and a drink?
Here we go again.
That's what happens, dude. That's what happens. Here we go again. Back to the old factory, right? Oh boy. Gotta punch in and punch out again. We love you, Pine Sap. You're the cream of the pie. I really appreciate that, man. Dude, okay, you know what does actually sound good right now? Now that you say that, I remember. Did you guys have Village Inn in your state? Let me know. Did you guys have Village Inn in your state? I don't know I don't know what locations they all had. Village Inn was kind of like IHOP. It was like a breakfast place. Do you guys remember Village Inn? Or is that just me? It was phenomenal growing up. That was like one of my favorite spots to go to. But they had these like amazing pies there. And dude, okay, it's literally on the chocolate cream pie, bro, was like actually super good. And like the moment I heard someone say you're the cream of the pie, I was like, dude, my mind goes back to being a kid and trying that for the first time, because I didn't have a lot of pie growing up, and the bit of pie I did have was like those gross like Kirkland pumpkin pies that I was like, ew, this is like nasty. Like you could douse this in all the whipped cream in the world and it would still be gross. But dude, one of these bad boys and a Village Inn chocolate cream pie would go so hard right now. That sounds pretty good, actually. Our old boy Trent. It beckons. Let's see here. You guys are saying Village Inn is fire, free pie. Free pie on Wednesday? That's crazy, dude. Is he getting a kick chat? Yeah, you guys have kick chat. You guys can go watch the kick right now. I think 4 people are watching, actually. Sweet potato pie and French coconut pie are elite. I can't disagree with that, dude. Is that a euphemism, Pine Sap? That's not even a euphemism. Bro, I was not making a dirty joke. Someone say key lime pie. I love key lime pie, bro. Key lime pie is so good. It is actually pretty exquisite. The one, dude, Oreo pies where it's like an Oreo crust, that's phenomenal. My grandma actually, let me look up. I'm going to turn you guys on to a recipe real quick. Let me see if they actually have it on the internet. Got to visit Village Inn when I go to Colorado. I think a bunch of them went out of business, actually. I think they had like, it was like during like, I don't know, like the middle 2010s or whatever. But they had like a bunch of the locations go out of business for whatever reason. This is like crack. This is single. So there are 2 of my favorite desserts. These are family desserts. Frozen adobe pie and cowboy cake. Cowboy cake is a chocolate cake with espresso mixed in, so it's basically like a chocolate cake but with coffee. It is the best pie. Well, it's not pie, it's cake. It is the best cake you will ever have. Every single time when my birthday rolls around, I'm like, I need cowboy cake. It is phenomenal. And then my grandma used to make this frozen adobe pie. And you basically put it's a Oreo crust, but we don't use actual Oreos. We use we use Newman O's, which are like the like healthy natural Oreos and stuff like that. They're really good. You and me and a gym sesh followed by Village Inn pie. Joseph, let's do it, bro. Let's do it. I like that. You get coffee ice cream, you get chocolate ice cream, Oreo crust. You put it, you actually have to melt the ice cream. So you melt the ice cream in this crust. You put it in the freezer, wait for it to freeze. When you cut into that, bro, it's like eating a slice of heaven. It is phenomenal. It is so good, dude. I can't recommend it enough. If you can ever make it, adobe pie and cowboy cake. Those are the 2 best desserts. Like, if I ever had to, for the rest of my life, stick with 1 or 2 desserts, it would be those. They're just so phenomenal. I love them so much, man. And also, too, okay, we're talking about food right now. You guys got to try this. I actually credit this a lot with, like, what's been making me sound really, like feel really good recently, but I actually had one today. You got to get clean yerba mate, bro. You gotta get clean yerba mate. This stuff is so phenomenal. This is the best, not only energy drink, but just drink I've ever had. This is like my go-to now. Clean yerba mate is phenomenal. The lemon lime flavor and the blackberry flavor are some of my favorites, but they're so good. I've been trying to recommend this to some of the other groypers and stuff like that, but it's like my favorite drink. They've got like a tea flavor. They've got like a bunch of different flavors. Bus said clean sucks. No, you suck, dude. You suck. Gorilla Mine? I don't even know what that is, bro. I'm not drinking Gorilla Mine. That sounds like the gorilla mulch stuff that guy was eating to try and gain mass. He was like, dude, is this a recent clip or an old clip?
First of all,
Oh, that's an old clip. Yeah, when he repudiated W. No, Gorilla Mine. I don't know what that shit is, bro, but clean, that's what we all drink here. That's what we drink, bro. It's so good. Lewis said I drink those all the time. Yes, dude. Yes. You're goated for that, actually. You're so goated for that. Gorilla Mine sounds mid as hell. I'm sticking with clean yerba mate, dude. That's what's created this. That's what's created the physical nasty beast, right? It's just some good old yerba mate. Oh, I forgot about that guy. That's funny. Let's see here. White Monster. I've heard White Monster is good. I think I tried it once, but I kind of forgot the flavor. I might have to try it again. I was hanging out with my buddy the other day, and he got a White Monster. Let's see here. Beating Minecraft, but I can't break the laws of Mormonism. What would be the laws of Mormonism that he couldn't break in Minecraft? Every ecumenical council explain. Dude, I tried to listen to the not the Dean Withers debate, the Parker and Jesus and whatnot debate today. I had to turn it off. It was so bad. Like, not because of Jesus and whatnot, but Parker is just annoying to listen to. He is the most like passive aggressive metrosexual I think I've ever had the displeasure of listening to. Just all the like interruptions and him getting super emotional. It was almost unlistenable. And I think Jaw was doing a great job, but I can't listen to that guy for extended periods of time. He is just too insufferable. And then he was like, dude, debate Danny Phil talk. And Danny's a really nice guy. I have nothing bad to say about Danny. He's a super nice guy. We had a really good debate. But like, I mean, there's not many times in life when I'm like, I won that debate, right? Because like I've had debates where I like definitely did not think that I won. Like the other Paul, like that debate was difficult as hell. But like, let's be real. I did win that debate. Like it goes without saying, I won against Danny. Like he did not sufficiently defend the thesis that like homosexuality is okay or whatever. And that's not dogging on him. He's a nice guy, but like it's a false perspective, right? And like being like, oh, debate Danny. It's like I think Jaw would do really good against Danny, right? It just goes without saying because it's like Christianity is true, man. And atheists, it's like they always have to do these like equivocations and they have to do this like kind of whataboutism, and it's like, well, how do we really know if this is what we say it is in this category and all? It's very dishonest. It's very dishonest. I'm not a fan of it. There's a video I thought I was gonna react to, but I totally forgot what it was. We're not doing Family Guy clips. That's a rabbit hole, dude. What was the video I wanted to like watch or react to? I low key wanted to react to a bit of the Verillium Chad Champion stream, but I think he still has it down. I think he still doesn't have it. Yeah, see, dude, he literally removed it. He doesn't even have the stream up anymore. A stream so good he had to take it down, right? That's terrible, bro. That Catholic guy is a leftist. Who's that Catholic guy? Oh, brother. Bro, okay. I answered my own question. We all know what we gotta fucking watch now. Let's
People on the
it.
right will
Patrick
say that
writing the sequels
poverty
for
does
10 hours, that is good content. You know what we gotta, you know what slop we gotta react to now. I'm gonna probably get cancer from watching this, but let's just get into it.
doesn't make you do all these violent crimes.
How am I virtue signaling for saying that Hitler is bad?
9 times out of 10, it's not really pattern recognition. It's just straight up racism. You know.
I've been more victimized by like white people, but I'm not gonna hold it to white people because I don't care.
I'm
Like,
very optimistic for the future of America, for the future of the church, for the future of the world. Overall, I'm very, very optimistic.
Music goes hard. W music.
Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing today?
so
Hello.
We've been recording this a few times. This is like probably the second or third time, but you know.
Yeah,
Anyways, how's everyone doing today?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, juicy, very juicy topic.
yes, sir.
So basically, let's just give a quick introduction. Everyone introduce ourselves. My name is That Catholic Guy.
I'm Aquinos.
Go ahead.
I'm Catholic Bum, also known as Seabass.
Curl lives. Just call me Curl.
He just had to be last. He just had to go last after
You know
everyone.
me.
Nonchalant,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, for
Y'all
sure,
can call
for
me
sure.
Connor if you want to, by the way.
Yeah, you can
A lot
call
of people
me.
That's my name!
Yeah, you can
You
call me.
can't take my name, bro. He copied my whole fucking flow. Word for word, bar for bar. Bro, I'm Connor. There is only one Connor, and that is Pine Sap, okay? No, I'm just playing. Multiple people can be named Connor, but you know, listen. That name belongs to me, bro.
That Catholic Guy.
That name belongs to me, pal. No, I'm playing. I'm sure he's a good guy.
I just accidentally found out your name, and I'm not gonna
yeah.
say it, but
No, you're good. I don't care. People call me by my name sometimes. It's whatever. I don't know. I know
when you talk to me about it.
your toppers and everything. And I do want to try to be, I know I have my own personal opinions and biases, but I want to try to be like super objective with it, just like go into the facts and everything.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, let's give a quick.
Oh, that guy who just let's see. Mo Gummy said, "Wait, I actually know some of these guys. Literally, one of their servers. This is gonna suck." Yeah, I'm ready for it to be pretty awful. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not looking forward to this. One God, one Pope, one Connor. So true, skits. Asus laptop webcam. And yes, Irish Ginger Connor is a pretty cool guy. Let's
introduction.
go. That's W. We love Irish Ginger Connor. W. We love the Irish. I'm Irish, dude. Us Irish, we got to stick together. This is a harsh world.
To like what this podcast is. So this is the Unnatural Law podcast. We're gonna try to do this every week. It's like we're just trying to a podcast. We're gonna try to have it. Like Nick Fuentes I'm pretty sure he started the Groiper movement, but let's like look at the Wikipedia page just to check.
Bro, I'm not
Accurate, but they don't go in depth with how much they cope.
Yeah.
Like,
I
Yeah.
would
I
like
feel
to
like, I
add,
feel like
I mean,
copium
go on.
is one of the traits
Mhm.
of being
I don't know if the Wikipedia is going to say all that, though. The Wikipedia
Yeah.
tries to be relatively, like,
No.
just objective and clinical about it. So
Yeah, that's
But
what
yeah,
I'm
they do be
saying.
coping.
But if this is the objective look at it, right? If this is the objective look at Nick Fuentes, and it's still saying that he is a misogynist and an incel, like that's
W.
pretty scathing just right off the
W.
bat.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
the problem is that, like, we know that they are that. The thing is that they're making it where it's like, this isn't actually an issue. Like, they're fully okay with admitting that they are these things.
I am fully okay with admitting I am these things. Problem? I'm fully okay with it, bro. Yeah, I am. What about it?
But then they debate on whether it's not an issue. I feel like
Yeah,
I
no,
interrupted somebody. My bad.
yeah, and I
Very
will
good,
say
Seabass.
that like the Wikipedia page, it does give a solid explanation, but definitely if you really like want to get a deep dive into what
Do I need to even say anything? Do I need to You know how we were talking about ugly thoughts earlier? That's just all I'm gonna say. You know how we were talking about ugly thoughts? That's just that's all I'm gonna point out. That's all I'm gonna point out. You know, ugly thoughts, right?
But groupers actually believe it's best to watch one of those streams. You know, I mean, having like seen a couple, it's like it's a lot more in depth than that. But of course,
Yeah.
Wikipedia, as you guys said, it's not gonna the whole thing.
I feel like whenever
Somebody, your boy said Matt Nuclear's cousin. So true, dude. That is Matt Nuclear's cousin.
it comes to his streams, though, he mostly just like whenever I've tried to like go in depth and watch him, he mostly just like takes donations from his fans. So
Yeah.
if we want to, we can just watch some of his streams where he takes donations from his fans.
Yeah.
I
I mean, yeah,
also
they say
wanna
some
say-
crazy stuff.
Yeah, we can just react to
I want
that.
to say that one of the other core elements of being a groiper is that
Mhm.
yeah, all those things that describe them in the Wikipedia page are true, but those say that it's not true because it doesn't fit a specific criteria of what that thing is. So
Yeah.
they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not anti-Semitic.
For
I
sure.
just don't like Israel or something like that." Well, while at the same time they are being anti-Semitic, it's the same thing with them being homophobic, misogynistic,
Mhm.
et cetera, et cetera. They'll have like a very specific definition of those words, and if they feel like they aren't fitting that category, then they aren't what that is. So they're okay with it because they just don't believe that it's true, that what they say about them are true.
So would you say that it's like a spectrum in a way?
I'm saying
I would say you're all on the spectrum, actually. Oh, it ain't a spectrum. You're all on the spectrum, actually. Yeah, literally, Awolf said it in chat, posting Nick's W's, right? And I always love when these people are like, and they're homophobic too. Yeah, part of being Catholic is being homophobic, actually. That's a part of our faith. Like, I love how half these things these people always mention are things that just belong to the content of Catholicism. It's not even like, you know, like a wild out there, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they said this. I can't believe, you know, they stated this or whatever. This just belongs to the content of our faith, bro. Like this just is what we are, right? This is what the world tries to call us. So when you're like ashamed of being Catholic in this way and you're trying to like kneel in front of a world that hates God, you are already a slave to it. That's why I could never respect. Do you think any of the I am going to be this blunt. Do you think any of these guys could be martyred? Do you think any single one of these guys would actually be willing to die for the faith? I don't think they would. I would go out on a limb and say that. And I know that's a harsh thing to say, but it's like, if you care this much about how other people perceive you right now, and the real persecution has not even started, what is that going to say for you in the future when it gets worse? Because it's going to get worse. It's going to get really, really, really bad. And I don't think any one of these guys is going to be able to handle it. I don't think they're going to be able to handle it. I think they are going to fold like a deck of cards. They're going to fold. They're going to fold like a cheap suit. I have no doubt about it. Right? Hype2V said, hey, let's listen to two black guys teach us groypers about our faith and values. So true, dude. So true. You know, I just needed random Instagram content creators to tell me about what we believe as Catholics. This is, listen, I know I had a very big Instagram presence on my old account and stuff like that. And, you know, I was very kind of active on Instagram. I still am, of course. But like, the Instagram mindset that is created amongst some of these people is like an actual spiritual disease. It no longer is about pursuing the integrity of Catholicism. It's suddenly about just trying to make it as appealing or flashy as possible. And I don't mean by making like beautiful art. I don't mean by like making edifying stuff. I mean, they try to water it down so much that it's no longer the same faith. Like they don't want to believe in what Catholicism is. They're ashamed of it. That's why these people don't do apologetics, they apologize. They're not interested in defending the faith. They're interested in putting it in front of the world and making it kneel to a world that completely hates and has forgotten God. Why would I ever listen to a single one of these people? You know who even above me, you know who you should listen to? St. Alphonsus, the ecumenical councils, St. Thomas Aquinas, the doctors of the church, and they will say things that these guys would call sexist, misogynistic, homophobic, anti-Semitic, all the isms they want to throw out, the literal words of saints of God, they are ashamed of. Imagine being ashamed of people who are in heaven right now praying for you. I don't think that there's anything more shameful than that. And so these guys are completely pathetic, man. Like I'm not even gonna watch this entire video. I'll chunk through a little bit more of it because I just want to hear, you know, we just want to shovel a little bit more coal. But it's like I don't have any respect for these people at all. And if any of them watch this or whatever, go ahead and make your call out post and say how I'm not really Catholic and that I need to repent and I'm mean and not wholesome chungus and uncharitable or whatever. That's fine, dude. I'm the black sheep. This is something I've accepted a long time ago. I do not get along with these other people, and I never will. We're not working on the same team. My interest is getting as many souls to heaven as possible, not trying to pull a, VOR and rizz up as many Instagram girls as possible. Oh, please, sweetie. I posted the video where I was defending against those mean sexists. Can I please get some attention now? That will never be me. That will never be me. I will never do that in a million years. I'm not interested in trying to appeal to people. If my stream one day is 15 people, so be it. I don't care. I just want to get souls to heaven. That's my only mission. These people want attention and popularity. That's all they want. JK said in chat, they not like us. They are not like us. They were not built for this at all.
I'm saying that, like, what is true about them, they are misogynistic, they are anti-Semitic. They have different definition of all those words.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't even affirm them.
Someone look that up.
I'll look it up right now.
We are Googling what the word jalopy means, just to
me and
how
Dad
do you even spell that? Jalopy.
Jalopy.
We are going to get canceled, bro.
I do believe, Mo Gummy said, I do believe Kuro and Ginger Connor are strong Catholics. I just wish they kept Nick and Groiper's names out of their mouth. They genuinely have no clue what they're talking about. That's fair enough. And maybe I misjudged them. If they're strong Catholics, then, that's on me. I take it back. I don't want to misjudge or misspeak. But like, at the same time, I don't know. I just need to, actually, I don't know what I was trying to say there. I was reading David's message. Snap deserves to pop off so bad. Yeah, real. I just don't like the attitude. I think the attitude, like, look, I would be the first person to say, you don't have to be a Groiper to go to heaven, of course, right? I would never say that in a million years or what have you. But, you don't need to be a part of this movement to be a good Catholic. But I do think that there is a certain correlation between people who take problems or umbrage with AF. Like, I understand people who come a lot more from a perspective of like, oh, you guys are maybe kind of rowdy and maybe the jokes are a little too unclean or whatever, but they're still like, but I like the actual content of what you have to say. That I can understand a lot more. But the people that are like actually offended by the content of what we're saying, like jokes aside and all that, I just think that that attitude is emblematic of you're not even having a problem with AF. You're just having a problem with like what Catholicism teaches. You're just having a problem with what Catholicism teaches. And I'm seeing N Towers in chat.
Worn out
Jalopy, dilapidated old car.
So it's
Dilapidated old
probably
car.
I thought
Okay.
it was a slur.
It's not
though.
a slur.
Nah,
Okay.
Crazy.
okay.
It's not a slur.
It sounds like one. It for real does.
It's like
Yeah.
it's an old
Okay.
car. That's all it is.
I'm gonna make it a slur. Hey, what are you jalopies doing in our part of town? We don't take kindly to run down cars. You see me? You see old Sap in his overalls, nipple hanging out, and I'm on my porch and I'm on my rocker and I'm like, what do you boys think you're doing? We don't take kindly to jalopies around here. And then I spit in my spittoon and he's like, what? Bing! And I'm like, you best be going down that road, boy. Okay? This is a Groiper town and you ain't welcome. Okay? This Groiperville, son. Get your non-green ass out of here. That would be me, bro. I'd be like painted green. I'd look like Mr. Frog's dad from Smiling Friends. I'd be like, you get your non-Groiper green ass out of here, okay? This town ain't big enough for your kind. All right.
Well,
Okay. So with that out of the way, we
Yeah.
got a lot to chew on
Yeah.
here.
now, while
Yeah.
I will say, I think the comparison of like white school shooters and black crime is pretty bad. But I also, yeah, I agree with Nick Fuentes to that end. But I also kind of don't agree that
sure.
this like warrants racism. And
yes.
it's like he's giving
Yeah,
very
no,
vague
100%.
statistics as well. And the reality is that a lot of this is very cultural, and a lot of this is like I'm gonna say it. It's like the direct result of Protestant America. Like this is why we're so disjointed.
You're right.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Right.
thank you.
Bro just threw a grenade into the conversation.
Right off the bat, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
Protestant straight.
I don't
I'm
disagree
just trying to
with
think of like
you.
what the actual issue is here. Like,
I
right?
don't
'Cause, like,
disagree
he's
with you,
presenting-
right? Yeah. I feel like we can get to that a little bit later though.
Yeah.
I want to talk about
I
like
think-
the statistics here.
Oh, I would like to add, like,
Yeah.
with the statistics thing. So, like,
Mhm.
a lot of Groipers, they'll claim they have pattern recognition.
Oh yeah,
Put
here
that
we
in
go.
heavy
Pattern
quotes.
recognition.
Because 9 times out of 10, it's not really pattern recognition. It's just straight up racism. You know,
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
yeah.
100%.
Yeah, because what's going on in Soweto right now, what's going on in Soweto, Spain, that's just because they don't have enough economic opportunities, right? They didn't get a good school lunch. And, because those migrants didn't get a good school lunch, that's why they're, raping innocent young girls. That's why they're killing young Spanish white men. That's why they're completely making it into a third world hellhole, right? Because they didn't get they didn't get a good school lunch, actually. Yeah, it was the mean white Anglo-Saxon Protestants and their country clubs that created the migrant crisis, actually. You guys didn't know that? Yeah, it was because they had a country club and there were separate water fountains at one point in time that's why when those Moroccans went over the border, Soweto is now like a third world hellhole. That's why it's a third world shithole now, actually. You guys didn't know that? I mean, come the fuck on, man. Like, are we serious? And here's the thing, right? Nobody in this movement denies. Oh, Nick's live. Okay, I'll finish my soapbox and then I'll make sure we transition to watching Nick's stream. Nobody claims that anyone based on the color of their skin or their race has less human dignity than another person. That's not something Nick has claimed. That's not something I would ever claim. That's not something that any Catholic worth their salt will ever claim. Every single human being has the same dignity and is made in the same image of God. That's something we have always believed and upheld. But if you're seriously going to deny that there are these like prevalent problems amongst these groups of people, and it's not just because they had a bad school lunch or redlining happened in real estate or whatever, this is ridiculous. I don't think that it's one of those things where it necessarily has to be inherent to the soul of that people, right? I mean, clearly, I actually know quite a bit of like Black Catholics, for instance, that are, very great men, and they're not, violent or rambunctious or anything like that. Grace perfects nature, of course, but like, are we going to deny that these trends are happening by and large? Why is it always that we blame it on these externals where it's like, you'll see these people sometimes afforded every opportunity, and they'll have government assistance, and they'll have every chance to get a leg up, and they still beat their girlfriend, and they still go to jail, and they still kill innocent people. It's like, this is a deeper problem that we have to talk about, and it's not one that we can just deny because it's mean and racist, right? That's how people die. So, for these guys, it's like they want to live in this fantasy land where it's and look, I'm willing to blame Protestants for a lot of things. I'm not even going to say that WASPs didn't, there were at times where they mistreated other groups of people and stuff like that, for sure. Goes without saying, right? But like, if we're seriously going to blame the WASPs for the reason why O-Block is a shithole, come the fuck on, man. Like this is ridiculous, right? I mean, if you look at the Asians, for instance, in the Asian population in America, right, historically speaking, so like the Chinese on the West Coast, who were radically discriminated against, right? Chinese Exclusion Act, all that stuff. Look at how their descendants have massively moved up in the world, right? They're CEOs of companies. They're doing really well for themselves. They're living in some of the richest neighborhoods. I mean, dude, I went to Seattle and Washington like a summer ago, and you drive by these like fancy neighborhoods, and it was like mostly white people and mostly Asian people, right? So this whole like, historical discrimination, stuff like that, this is just a fucking cope. This is a total cope to excuse the bad behavior that goes on in these communities and never hold them accountable so that they can actually take a look and say, we need to hold these people doing these things accountable so that we can move up and we can become better. I think black people can, and I think there's many black people that already have and have completely rebuffed that trend. But the problem is that in a lot of these black communities, they constantly are running cover for each other's behavior, and they never hold each other accountable. And if they were willing to do that, then I really think that you would see a lot better situation for most of these communities. But until they're willing to do that, and until they're willing to go get over the like, woe is me, and everything's like systemic racism and stuff like that, it's never going to happen, man. Mo Gummy said, will you let in on a we'll let you in on a secret, though. When Nick gets brought up in the server, it gets lame. I'm not a groiper myself, but the hate for Nick and groipers performative at best, overblown at worst. So true, Mo. And I think it is literally just one of those things where it's like they're just doing it to, get girls' attention and be liked by the world, basically. Mercy for the criminal is punishment for the innocent. So true, Catholic David. Very true, man. Very true. But yeah, Nick is live. Everyone go watch him. Go tune out. I will actually stream again tomorrow, so be looking forward to another stream. I think we're going to talk about Anglicanism a little bit. I've been meaning to do work on the timeline of like the degeneration of the Church of England, and kind of talking about like Episcopalianism and all that kind of stuff. But guys, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I had a great time per usual, and I can't wait to see y'all again. So it's going to be a great time. And thanks for watching tonight. Go watch Nick and go